Here are some quotes about today's subject. One of them says, "The two most powerful warriors are patience and time." Another says, "Patience is bitter, but the fruit is sweet." Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. Our patience will achieve more than our force. Rivers know this. There is no hurry. We shall get there someday. Have patience with all things, but first of all, with yourself. Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep good attitude while waiting. One moment of patience may ward off great disaster. One moment of impatience may ruin. When you think of old things that has been said in the past, such as 7 seconds can ruin your life, that's what this is. Patience will always work because your ability to see, your ability to wait means everything. There are individuals who will tell you, go and get it now. And the Ugly Money Niche podcast, or just Ugly Money podcast, I did at the very end of that podcast say that, and this is an old Shakespearean quote that says, "There's a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Amid it, all voyages are bound in shallows and misery. On such a full sea we are now afloat. We must take the current when it serves or lose our venture," which means now or never. There are instances where patience is going to bite you. When it comes to making certain business decisions, once you've vetted all the things that you need to vet, go after it. There's no more. But the reason I'm bringing the first episode, well, it's not necessarily first episode, but the reason why we're going with patience in this theme is simple. The internet has been, and I've been a part of it, quick to throw somebody under the bus. Quick to cast aspersions and judgment on individuals when at the end of the day, we truly don't know every single detail unless we were there. We can have sources that are closer than close, but please remember, everybody has a tactic, has an angle, and has a certain degree of manipulation that exists. So, there have been times where myself and others have gotten it completely wrong. There have been times where we've got it completely right. There's a credo that I've adopted that says, I want to get it right, not be right. And the reason why that is massively important these days is because of the simple fact of we don't know. When it boils down to it, education requires patience because it requires repetition. This is the first time you've been taught this. So since it's the first time you've been taught it, it would serve that you'd have to practice it a couple of times, but still keep the same vigor towards. Some would disagree, but I don't see how. When speaking on patience, you need patience. I say this all the time with a bunch of women that I'm friends with. Yes, you can be friends with women, but you cannot be close to them all the time. Things will happen. It just is what it is. But conversations with enough women to be able to say, hey, check this out. That man that you desire, the things that he's promised, patience. Fellas, the same thing. Patience. More and more nowadays as the fellas, as we get older and stuff, we find out that a lot of these ladies that are on the internet that swear that they got it, that they're living a lifestyle, that they're making it all happen, they're not. They're working on what they call manifestations. To the ladies, Build-A-Bear dudes, the guys that you want, that you feel like you could sprinkle something on, trust me when I tell you, Maya Angelou had it right. When people show you who they are, believe them. There's this odd trope that we have that we had to believe that somebody will be something that they have not shown us. When I tell you, have the patience to wait and see if they become exactly who they're supposed to be or exactly who they're not. Patience will reveal all. Hold off. If you're doing things for the fun of doing things for thrills and all this stuff and all of that crap, cool. But no, patience. Patience, wait on it. There are adventures that people will love to get into, but they won't have the patience to take another route. If you would like to own a restaurant, get into the fashion industry, go work for a restaurant, go work for a clothing store, learn. It's not hard to sit back for a year and learn. If you want to be a restaurant owner, you want to absolutely own a restaurant, it's easy. Not easy in the simple fact of, hey, bruh, I can go to the restaurant and I can go get a loan and learn all of these things and all of this stuff and everything. No. Not in the slightest. No. Go work at one. Learn. Be a manager. Be a cook. Be a waiter or waitress. Learn all of these things. Learn even how to be a janitor there. Learn how to properly clean stuff. Learn how the functions go. So that way, when it's your turn, you already have the expertise. You can point out certain individuals or certain things that you may or may not like about a company while trying to recruit individuals. It's simple. There are so many things that you do not know about that you'd have to absolutely sit back and go, dang, I didn't know that. In particular, food vendors. What's in season? What's in style? What do people like during the winter versus what people like during the fall versus what people like during the spring and summer? When should you cut back on hours? When should you extend hours? What's a livable wage? What makes sense? These things. Patience. Rushing in blindly does not always get what you need. Now, there are instances where you should get up and do it. If you are talking about 2025, and forget 2025, the very next year, you want to know the time to do all of these things that people are talking about? The time is now. That time you can't show any patience. Now it's time for you to get up and start doing it. If you have health goals, do it today. If you know you need to cut back on certain things, do it today. If you are addicted to something, bring it down today. Say you're addicted to drinking soda. Say you have about 3 cans a day. Let's knock it down just to 2. Just 2 cans a day. Make the times. Hey, I'm scratching for it. Let's say 10 a.m. is when I can have my first one, and 5 p.m. is when I can have my second one. Then we shift and we move it. Then eventually within 2 weeks, you go to 1 can. Make that can during the noon. Then you move it to every other day. And you move that to the nighttime because now it's relaxing. Then you just move it to about a Saturday. Now some people, and I will admit, for me, I can do this with most things, not all things. I'll just go cold turkey. But the sabotage that I spew to myself is detrimental towards the product. And the words that I use will, how can I say this in a positive way? The words that I use are pretty bad. If you don't do this, you'll die. You're losing right now. Granted, it's not true. When I gave up alcohol, it was because I literally was doing roofing and construction and doing security as well. I had 2 jobs that required me to be on top of everything. So what I said to myself is, you will die if you drink and you come on this roof hungover. Now, granted, it was a hardness on me and all this stuff and everything like that, but I understood that the more I spent time drinking, the more I wasted time going and doing bar runs and all this stuff and going out and all this crap, the more time I spent drinking and wasting money, the more time it was going to take for me to recover and stop wasting time on things. And that's what allowed me to be sharper. Now, will that work for everybody? Absolutely not. Would I recommend that to everybody? Hell yeah, it worked for me. But do I expect everybody to do that? No. And you shouldn't either. And that's another thing about patience. Please do not, and I repeat, please do not treat others like you. They have different stories. They have different backgrounds. They are nothing like you. Whatever story, whatever proclamation you have made, whatever problem you've overcame, that was specific for you. There's a story of a kid who cried wolf. And this kid that cried wolf, what he do? Sat up there and was bored and called the townspeople over because he was tending to the flock of sheep. Sheep cannot defend themselves against wolves. And the people came with pitchforks and they came to save the sheep because the kid was crying, wolf, wolf, wolf. And out of his own amusement, he laughed when they came and nothing was there. So he tried it again. They came running, pitchforks, all of this stuff to stop the wolf. He laughed again, harder and harder and harder. Can't believe I got y'all a second time. Angered faces as they left. The crowd retreated back to their normal duties. Then what happened? An actual wolf came. And the kid screamed, cried, screamed, as the wolf tore the sheep to pieces. The kid ran back to the people, showing the tattered limbs of sheep. You guys didn't come, the wolf actually came. That's the story we tell our kids, and the lesson is theirs. Make sure you tell the truth. But if we were sinister, the lesson of the boy who cried wolf would be never tell the same lie twice. Depends on how you look at things. There are times where patience will come and it'll come after you. And you will get upset and you will sit there and get really, really perturbed and you'll blame things. You'll blame God. You'll blame whatever. You blame the universe. Blame whatever in which you believe in. But you should absolutely thank whatever entity you believe in that you got a chance to go through it. Because what are we working towards? What is your goal? What are these things? If you have been working on yourself, this is the test. It's the equivalent of you stepping up and practicing threes all the time and the game is on the line. Boom, they pass you the ball to shoot the three-point shot. You've been ready for this moment. And you shoot it. Time winding down, the ball is in the air. We're looking. Ball goes up. 3, 2, 1. And you make it. But what happens if you miss? What should you do? Should you cry about it? Or should you continue to shoot threes and increase everything that you've done? At first you were shooting 100 shots a day. Now you shoot 250. The regularity, the consistency, realizing that these opportunities will happen. It's those things that people must look at and go, man, I got it. I can work this. I need to work this. I need to be this person. I am this person. This is me. So as we sit here today, and the message of patience is to be upon you, that is what I must bring to you first. Because at the very end of the day, that's all we freaking have, is the ability just to be patient. That's it. We don't need to do anything else or anything more. And at the end of the freaking day, that's all it requires. More patience, more people in your life, more things that are going to provide for you. Because once these things provide for you, then you have the patience to appreciate the blessing. Learn patience. If not for yourself, at least for others. Learn patience with people. Learn that they're going to disappoint you. Learn that they do not know. Learn that you have an ability to be taught something. Learn that they will teach you if you are worthy. Those type of things. Do not expect anybody to give you a thing. Do not expect to sit up here and get a bunch of things and then next thing you know, go berserk and go crazy. Can't tell you the amount of people, and I'm pretty sure you can attest to this, the amount of people that sit up here and turn around and go, hey, man, now I have this in abundance, and don't show a platitude. Well, wrong word. They don't show an iota of patience. Why? Because they never had it before. And they believe what's going to happen is what they have in abundance will turn back into scarcity. This is why you see people who get money and waste it and blow it on frivolous things. Because they never had it, the money. They never had the ability to have that much abundance bestowed upon them that can make it all work. So what do? They screw themselves every single time because they don't know. And what they don't know scares them. The unknown is everything. But even if you don't have the unknown, you should know. In your heart of hearts, what you're supposed to do, what it's supposed to be, what things should be provided to you, how it is that you should dominate. And I don't mean dominate in a negative way, but I mean dominate your feelings and emotions that you can somehow indulge in a bit of stoicism. We got into this point on earth. We got into this point in common language. We got into this point in common thought where being patient at times can be very, very, very bad. We've gotten to the point in life where if you show a bit of resolve and show patience, they think it is that you don't care. The problem is that you care too much to further damage things. And that's the idiotic part of life that we have gotten to. That when you practice the ability to not react, they think that you are emotionless. Let me tell you something. For anybody that is currently still practicing stoicism, now is the most perfect time to do it with people who are 100% involved in self-sabotage, with people who are 100% involved with things that do not matter, with people who have distracted themselves from daily duties, from weekly challenges and monthly goals, from quarterly things that they know they should do, to semi-annual things that they know must be accomplished. Do not fall within those things. And anybody who's watching this and going, man, Ceddy Nash, you're this and you're that. Let me tell you something. I pray for you. I really do pray for you. Because I will admit I'm a man trying and a man struggling. I'll readily admit it. I'm a man struggling myself. We're learning to turn the street stuff off and seep into the intellect and accepting that intellectually that's the better part. While fighting rumors and disruptions and stuff like that for people who just want to rub their name against mine for other people to view them as they see me. So this is nothing but me having a conversation. This is why people decide to come rock with it. And if you react to this and you go, oh man, this guy's a whole fraud and phony, I pray for you. Because when I was a child, I behaved like a child. When I was a teenager, I behaved like a teenager. When I decided to indulge myself in certain things, that's what it is. Don't mean I won't break your jaw. Don't mean you won't catch me in the hood. Don't mean all of these things. But what it does mean is I'm a man trying not to do these things, trying to have patience. So if you don't like this message because you don't like the messenger, replace my face and put it with something else because the stuff still stands. Even in times where people are failing, myself included, we still need lessons from those who look just like us. It's called growth. With that being said, back to the message at hand. The reason why we need more stoicism now more than ever, because we are bombarded with misinformation and disinformation. Why are we sold so much BS? Is because people would like us to do what they want because they kick you in certain parts of your mind to get you to react immediately. Because if you react immediately, you will be irrational, immensely irrational. And there's nothing worse than an irrational person who can't seem to get it freaking right. And if you can't get it right as an irrational person, then hell, who else can? So it's those things that exist that make us have to wonder, man, why? Why am I being told to do this and with such urgency? And it doesn't seem to be important. There are attitudes that people have that make sense. There are. We all should dislike and want to harm people who hurt children. But we all should be 100% committed to making sure that we understand those people so that it never happens again before we just wipe them off the earth. You need to study the viruses before you get rid of the viruses so that we don't create another one, so that it doesn't mutate. Majority of the people that go around harming these kids have been harmed as a kid themselves. So the question then becomes, yeah, we're going to get rid of that person. I'm not saying that we're not, but we also need to look at the fact of how is it that we stop kids from being harmed in the first place so that they themselves as the victims don't begin to victimize. Just food for thought. We have to have the patience to know that. We have to deep dive psychiatric evaluations on these individuals, because if we do not, all we do is paint another illustration of somebody else while the others who do this stuff try to hide in public. The majority of those who have been harmed typically comes from a family friend or a family member, and that is the scary part. If we don't like certain people's orientation, and their orientation basically came because somebody took their innocence away, should we shun them that much? Or because you don't understand their pain and you don't have the patience to listen to understand? It's those things that exist. It's those things that should scare you. It's those things that are alive well into the night. So it is what it is. If you do not receive anything about this message for you, then cool. But if you do, just share it with somebody and tell them, hey, just listen, man. Just listen. I listened to this and I thought you needed to hear this, because you yourself, you have been behaving in a way that you think is saving time. But at times, sometimes we need to do things slower. We need to, so that we don't have to do it all over again. Imagine making something quick as hell and you make a big old mess. And it takes you an hour to do it. And you're doing it as fast as possible, but the mess you made is going to require another hour. That's 2 hours. But imagine if you took your time and you got it all done, and it takes you an hour and 30 minutes. You don't have to worry about the mess and all of that stuff. Do you realize that now those 2 hours became 4? If you do it twice now, that it becomes 3 hours. You just saved yourself effectively an hour. And if we keep on doubling, that becomes 2 hours, while the other one becomes 4. And the other one becomes 4, it becomes 8, while the other one stays 4. You see the gap? Now we're saving 4 hours. Time, yeah, we need to get on it. We're going to be gone soon, but you don't have to rush to the finish line. So with that being said on that part, let me tell you, show more patience in doing, more patience in understanding. If you are sitting and frustrated with a person that you are working with and they just can't freaking get it, and it seems like you just pull your hair out, oh my God, or you have a friend, you have a family member, and my God, they just keep on messing up and keep on messing up. If you know it in their spirit that they mean well, if you know it in their spirit that you know that person, you owe it to yourself first to be patient, because you would want somebody to be patient with you. Once certain people become better versions of themselves, understand the time it took for you to get there. That somebody had to show patience with you. You are not as great as you seem. Somebody had to take a chance and a risk upon you to do these things. So you owe it to yourself to be the person who showed you everything. That version of yourself still exists, where you don't know it all, or you don't know about this. Be the person that other people can depend on, while also understanding that other people are just like you and they learn differently. When it boils down to it, the patience that you show others should be the patience that you should be allowed as well. And sometimes you're going to have to go a little bit further. Sometimes you're going to have to know a little bit more. Sometimes you're going to have to be certain things for other people that they cannot be, like a rock. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a relationship and it requires you to show a lot more patience, then show it. Understand that part. You had to be that part. You had to know that part. You had to. Why are you with this person? What was the best things about these people? What? What is the greatest part about them? What is the worst part about them? How do you show them that, hey, you're almost complete, but this right here is the completion? I'm not telling y'all to be with a Build-A-Bear person. I'm not saying, oh, this person does so much bad, but I see into the soul of them and they're a great person. They just need somebody to love them. They just need somebody to do this and do all of these things. I'm not saying that at all. That would be naive of me. And I am one of the most trustworthy people, but I don't believe I'm that naive either. And neither should you. But I'm telling you, if they do 7 great things out of 10, those 3 things that they do really bad, have the patience that you can be there and help them. Don't do it for them. Have the patience to not do it for them at all. Let them do that. Or have the patience to accept it and understand that they're not going to be everything. Because you're not everything for them. So they're not going to be everything for you. There's this thing about settling, and it typically goes to the woman's side of everything. And I'm not trying to shame a woman who has this detail about her. But there are too many of you ladies who believe to yourselves that you are every freaking thing and that there is nothing better than you. But the men that you get have to be extraordinary, super extraordinary, better than better. Not realizing that those men that you want typically do not want you for the long haul, only the short run. Why? Because it's too much of an investment. So having the patience, ladies, to know, though that person that you may want you for a moment, it is not a long time. When you start to sit back and realize the individuals like that are used to getting what they want all the time that they want, start to reduce your standards on certain things like looks. Fellas, the same thing. I don't agree with this stupid trope of a bevy of men trying to find the lady that's the small size with the hips and with the breasts and all of this stuff and looks like a 10. While you look like you are supposed to be buried in a swamp with the rest of the alligators. If you are a great leader like you say you are, you can find a woman with some extra stuff with her, eat healthy with her, build a lifestyle with her, because you'll already know her mentally, and now she can be at her peak physical attraction. And lo and behold, what a beautiful person you have. While becoming a beautiful person within yourself. These things must exist. Because if they do not exist within you, then golly, they can't exist at all. And if that's the case, then you're failing yourself. And if you are going to fail yourself by yourself. Don't drag others down. But please, 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 show some patience. Because people have to show patience with you. If y'all like stuff like this, man, try to get this video if you're signed in, because a lot of y'all ain't. This just popped up on your timeline and stuff and you're giving it a try. If you like stuff like this, let me know. We can do this. I'm going to make this a 30-minute video, but I could do this for an hour. I could go in and find stories of said subject. You guys can suggest subjects, and we could do it like that. It's not that difficult to do the research, paint illustrations, and get certain things done. And then once these type of videos start to blow up, then we can pay people to get the animation of it done. And once we get the animation of it done, you can just let it play in the background. You don't got to look at this big old face, this big old nose, these big old dull brown eyes. that look like they don't even belong to me, that I just got behind a baby dog and just pow, pow, knocked out the eyeballs and put them in my doggone self. So, if this is the type of stuff that intrigues you all, then cool. If not, this just be a one-on-one. I'll keep it on there, and I might get back to just reading the stories. Y'all remember that. This is for the individuals who have the 30-minute breaks or who want their day to go by a little bit sooner, and you don't want to hear all the time about celebrity crime, essentially. But let me know something.